Tensions in Ivory Coast as soldiers seized the second largest city and gunfire erupts at a military camp elsewhere in the country. America's top intelligence chief says he is convinced that Russia used cyber attacks to meddle in last year's presidential elections. And a theater artist in the U.S. creates a program to help people with memory loss issues without using drugs. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. First to Ivory Coast, where disgruntled soldiers seized the country's second largest city, Bouaké, on Friday, and gunfire erupted at a military camp in another town. A statement from the defense minister said the uprising was started by soldiers demanding increased salaries, payment of bonuses, and shortened promotion periods. Heavy gunfire was heard from around 2 a.m. in Bouaké, a city of around 500,000 inhabitants in the center of the country, and sporadic shooting continued into the late morning. Military sources said demobilized soldiers, mainly former rebels from the decade-long conflict, broke into police stations across the country, looting weapons before taking up positions at entry points into the city. Bouaké was the seat of a rebellion that controlled the northern half of the country until Ivory Coast was reunited following a civil war in 2011. For more on the situation in Ivory Coast, journalist Francois Mbra II joins us by phone from Bouaké. Francois, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you very much. The population of Bouaké in the central part of Côte d'Ivoire are plunged into fear since this morning. In the midnight, a group of military equipped with weapons attacked the 3rd Legion military camp in Bouaké. The 2nd commanding officer of the 3rd Military Legion of Bouaké and the commanding officer of the 3rd Military Battalion of Bouaké undertook a discussion with the soldiers. Among the complaints, we can notice the increasing of their salary, the reduction of the period required for obtaining rank in the army, the payment of grants, and we also notice that there are some measures that have been taken by the commanding officers. They ask the soldiers to get back to their barrack in order to find the required solution.
Now, Francois, is the country, or rather the town, calm and people feeling free to go around about their businesses?
Yeah, now, after, what happened in the night and this morning, in Bouaké especially, we can say that things seems to be to go well progressively. The commercial activities that stopped in the morning has now restarted progressively.
Now, are the soldiers, having been making these demands for a long time, or is this a short-term thing? Perhaps they were not paid for the last 1 month or two?
Yeah, it's just for a short time. It's not for a long time.
Okay. And in terms of concerns about the future, we know that there was a rebellion here in the past. Are people concerned that this could grow into something else?
Yeah, I don't catch you well. There is a small problem connection.
Is there fear that this could grow into something bigger?
Yeah, people feel blue in Bouaké, but we were the situation. It was really in the morning that the fear really gets in the different home of the population. But now in Bouaké, at the center of the town, we call it commerce. Everything seems to go well. The commercial activities restart now.
Well, we hope for peace there. Francois, thank you very much. That's Francois Mbra II, is a journalist based in Bouaké in Ivory Coast. Now to Nigeria, where officials say they found a girl who was kidnapped by Boko Haram insurgents from a school in the northeastern town of Chibok back in 2014. The Nigerian army found Rokia Abubakar wandering around near Algarno, a former Boko Haram stronghold, with a 6-month-old baby in her arms. And she and the child are now in the care of Borno State government. A total of 276 schoolgirls were abducted by Boko Haram from Chibok in one of the most infamous actions of their insurgency. More than 20 were released in October in a deal brokered by the International Red Cross. Others have escaped or been rescued, but about 200 are believed to be still in captivity. Here in the U.S., a shocking crime broadcast on Facebook Live. 4 young people are charged with torturing a mentally disabled teen in what police call a hate crime. The video is too graphic to show, but the victim was repeatedly stabbed and punched with duct tape placed over his mouth. 3 of the suspects are just 18 years old. The 4th is 24. As the attack played out on Facebook, police say the 4 shouted obscenities about President-elect Donald Trump and white people. The crime is all over U.S. social media. President Obama is condemning the act and warning of the dangers of racism and hate.
It's terrible. And so part of what technology allows us to see now is the terrible toll that racism and discrimination and hate takes on families and communities. But that's part of how we learn and how we get better. We don't benefit from pretending that racism doesn't exist and hate doesn't exist. We don't benefit from not talking about it. The fact that these things are being surfaced means we can solve them.
Well, according to police, the victim was held captive for between 24 and 48 hours before he was spotted by patrol officers near the scene of the attack. Well, America's top intelligence chief says he's more convinced than ever that Russia used cyber attacks to meddle in last year's presidential election. And he warned President-elect Donald Trump against disparaging the intelligence community. The measured but highly unusual criticism from National Intelligence Director James Clapper came before a Senate panel. VOA's Michael Bowman reports.
I think the public should know as much about this as possible.
Intelligence Director James Clapper told senators the Obama administration's report on Russian cyber snooping will be issued next week and will leave no doubt about Moscow's intent to impact the November election.
This was a multifaceted campaign, so the hacking was only one part of it, and it also entailed classical propaganda, disinformation, fake news.
Our adversaries have reached a common conclusion that the reward for attacking America in cyberspace outweighs the risk.
The chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, John McCain, has labeled Russia's cyber attacks an act of war, but one the United States invited by letting its guard down.
Right now, there is no policy, therefore there is no strategy, therefore there's no response to the attacks.
Donald Trump tweeted Thursday he is a big fan of U.S. intelligence, but the president-elect has questioned the need to receive classified briefings, highlighted past CIA missteps, and repeatedly dismissed the intelligence community's conclusions on Russian hacking.
Who actually is the benefactor of someone who is about to become commander-in-chief trashing the intelligence community?
But I think there's a difference between skepticism and disparagement.
What we do is in no small part driven in part by the confidence of our leaders in what we do. And without that confidence, I just don't want a situation where our workforce decides to walk.
A bipartisan appetite is growing on Capitol Hill for stiffer penalties against Russia.
There is no question, none, that the Russians hacked, attacked, and stole information and then weaponized it against the United States. And we need to impose even stronger sanctions.
There is no doubt the Russians did this, but the Iranians and the Chinese could do it next time. It was Democrats today, and it's going to be Republicans tomorrow if we don't stop this.
That bipartisan approach has not been shared by Trump, who has suggested political motives behind intelligence agencies' findings. The president-elect is scheduled to receive the report on Friday, but after months of deep skepticism, there are few expectations that he will change his position. Michael Bowman, VOA News, the Capitol.
What time for today's business report? U.S. stocks open flat as the markets digest a key report on U.S. employment. With more details, here's Africa 54's Jill Malandrino in New York.
In the first hour of trade, U.S. stocks are trading relatively flat following the key employment monthly data that we got. It came in line. Unemployment remains at 4.6%. Now, this is the reason why investors care about the employment data. It's the most comprehensive report on how many people are looking for jobs, how many have them, what they're getting paid, and how many hours they are working. So these numbers are the best way to gauge the current state as well as the future direction of the economy. Now, since President Obama took office in 2009, the economy has added over 11 million jobs. And this is following unemployment peaking at 10% back in October of 2009. So we've really seen a big increase in the employment situation here. The obvious question is, what's the next catalyst for markets outside of the inauguration on January 20th? Now, the S&P 500 had a pretty good start to 2017. And now we're adding a bit to 2016's nearly 12% gain. So the focus is going to turn to fourth quarter earnings and whether the bar has been set too high for the quarter or more likely for the 2017 outlook. Now, consensus sees an increase year over year. That would be the second consecutive increase in quarterly earnings for the S&P 500 index after 4 quarters of declines that began in the third quarter of 2015. Now, analysts, they believe investors are pricing in a beat for the fourth quarter. That in and of itself isn't a problem as long as investors don't anticipate a greater than average beat. So really what we're looking at right now is the strength of fourth quarter earnings and if that 10% rise that we've seen since the election is justified in stock prices. From the NASDAQ market site in New York, I'm Jill Malandrino, and this is Africa 54 Business News.
Well, thank you very much, Jill. Donald Trump is naming a record number of generals and billionaire business executives to his proposed cabinet. Now, the business nominations reflect his oft-stated belief that titans of commerce and industry can do more good for America than career civil servants and politicians. Viewers Michael Bowman reports.
Donald Trump's proposed inner circle will feature at least 3 generals, including James Mattis, to lead the Pentagon. Mattis is no stranger to Capitol Hill.
Are we demonstrating a decisive form of leadership, or are we demonstrating impotence?
Trump has also named 5 billionaire investors and corporate executives for top posts, including ExxonMobil chief Rex Tillerson for Secretary of State.
Rex will be a fierce advocate for America's interests around the world.
But advocacy is a duty Tillerson has shunned as a leader in the petroleum industry.
Whether it's Russia or Yemen or, wherever, the Middle East, I'm not here to represent the United States government's interest. I'm not here to defend it, nor am I here to criticize it. That's not what I do. I'm a businessman.
It does concern me just the number of generals and billionaires in Donald Trump's picks for his nominees for the cabinet.
Democrat Chris Coons serves on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
Donald Trump will be the first American president in our entire nation's history with no previous public service, either elected service or military service. And he needs to surround himself with folks who understand the strengths of the American civil service.
In 1961, President Dwight Eisenhower issued a warning about the very forces that will be prominent in the Trump administration.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
According to Trump, there is nothing to fear.
We're in the process of putting together one of the great cabinets. Certainly a cabinet with the highest IQ.
Republican lawmakers are mostly supportive of Trump's picks so far.
I think General Mattis is an outstanding choice for defense. I'm optimistic the president's going to have a good national security team.
This is a corporatist White House. We have elected a CEO.
Analyst Hudak says Trump's choices are unsurprising but could lead to pitfalls.
Typically, when a general wants something done, it gets done. When a CEO wants something done, it gets done. That's not necessarily true in the American bureaucracy. The cabinet picks are going to find out very quickly how different life inside the Beltway is compared to the lives that they have led.
Senate Democrats do not have the votes to block Trump nominees by themselves, but are pressing them to make full financial disclosures, including their tax returns, something the president-elect has yet to divulge. Michael Bowman, VOA News, Washington.
want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Find me on Twitter at VOA Vince Makori. Coming up, are you forgetting anything? Well, a theater artist creates a program to help people with memory issues. The details are just ahead.
How do you see the world?
I see countries in turmoil.
I see our planet changing.
I see people at peace.
No matter how you see the world, you'll get an unbiased and uncensored view of it on Voice of America. On television, radio, online, and mobile. In more than 40 languages all day, every day. Millions of people tune us in.
How do I see the world? On Voice of America.
Welcome back to Africa 54. A theater artist in the U.S. has created a program to help people with forgetfulness or memory issues. It's called Time Slips, and it's designed to help patients without using drugs. VOA's Julie Tabo has the story.
Joe, here's the band playing.
And the clowns clowning around.
It's not exactly stand-up comedy, but these elderly participants are making up their own stories based on random pictures they are given in a special workshop.
It's a horse. There's horses. Good job, Rosemary.
It's a horse.
Organizers say this improvisational storytelling method helps adults with memory problems.
There are so many disappointments in the difficulties of their days dealing with Alzheimer's disease that there are a lot of right and wrong answers. And in this process, there is no right and wrong answers. And there's a lot of laughter.
You want someone to help you, or you want to pick it?
Time Slips is the brainchild of Ann Basting, a University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee theater professor who's written plays about older adults and created public art projects to benefit them.
Instead of going to where people have loss, which is memory, we invite people to kind of shift over to imagination, where people with memory loss still have quite a bit of strength.
This past September, Basting won a MacArthur Foundation Fellowship to expand the Time Slips program. It already has certified facilitators in 41 U.S. states and 12 countries. That includes Yokohama, Japan, where Yoko Hayashi launched the program in August. She's had to adapt the program to Japanese culture, she says, because people in Japan are not as casual and open as Americans.
In the States, you don't get so tense. Everyone's very casual. But here, it's not like that. So I pay extra attention to become friendly with them before starting the program.
That approach seems to have worked for participant Naomi Hashimoto.
感動したことを小さな言葉でも
I was impressed how even the little things we said, one by one, stayed in our minds, and that made me feel different.
何かもっと自分も違う自分になれるんじゃないかなってちょっと思いました。
Harvey, what do you think? Which picture?
Pilot tests in nursing homes suggest that the program could improve residents' and staff attitudes. And Edmund Duthie, a geriatrics doctor at the Medical College of Wisconsin, says the approach might be a good alternative to prescription drugs.
We can engage people and then not have to use pharmacologic methods for behavioral problems, which I'm not sure this research has gotten to that point yet, but might be another area that we could look at.
In the meantime, participants in the program appear to be enjoying the sessions, which seem beneficial in and of themselves.
I think it was fun because someone is always laughing.
Beautiful story.
Julie Tabo, VOA News, Washington.
Now, there is a very unusual-looking student wandering around the campus of Stanford University in California's Silicon Valley. The student is a robot, and it is at the university to learn social skills so it can be a polite robot in human company. Viewers Elizabeth Lee followed the robot around the Stanford University and has this report.
trying to say hi to the robot.
The robot is called Jack Rabbit, and it is one of the most popular students at Stanford University.
I honestly thought it was really cute. I didn't know what it was, but I saw the hat and the tie, and I thought it was really cute.
One of Jack Rabbit's teachers is research scientist Alexandra Alaei.
We basically wanted to develop a more polite robot that will understand how people behave.
Alaei says a robot with social skills can have many applications, such as helping the blind or the elderly, or even offering drinks at a party, a skill some say can work if done correctly.
If it worked, yeah, then it becomes kind of invisible. It's just like a service to me. But if I see it doing weird things and kind of getting in my way of getting that drink or whatever, then I start to think, I could just go get it myself. Why do we have this robot slowing me down?
Ali says seamlessly interacting with humans is what Jack Rabbit is trying to learn through what's called a data-driven approach. Instead of following predefined rules, Jack Rabbit is learning by collecting data or experiences to understand human behavior so it can predict what humans will do next and even discern cultural differences.
The way we interact in the US is different than the way we interact in UK or in Asia or in Iran. And therefore, if you have a software that can automatically learn from all this data without having human in the loop, it will therefore make the machine smarter and adapt very quickly to the new environment.
There are sensors attached to Jack Rabbit that help it learn.
I think it's really interesting. The fact that we've always seen robots as not necessarily autonomous, but the idea that we're trying to teach it social cues and give it that human quality, I think that's really cool.
By studying human behavior to become more human,
fix your tie.
Robots may one day become more integrated into the everyday lives of humans. Elizabeth Lee, VOA News, Palo Alto, California.
Fascinating. Well, still to come on Africa 54, Hollywood brings us a story out of the shadows of history. We'll meet the women of Hidden Figures and how they sent an astronaut into space. We'll be right back.
If you've just joined us, I'm Mariama Diallo, and here is a quick recap of today's headlines. In Nigeria, soldiers have found a girl who was one of more than 200 pupils kidnapped by Islamist militant group Boko Haram in April of 2014. In Ivory Coast, heavy weapons fire is heard near Ivory Coast's largest military camp in the city of Bouaké, where at least 2 police stations were attacked. In Mali, the coordination of Azawad movements, the Tuareg former rebel group, has returned to the northern Malian city of Gao after being chased out by jihadist groups in 2012. In France, a petition has persuaded the French government to grant citizenship to Senegalese troops who fought for France. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Africa 54. A new Hollywood movie tells the true story of 3 NASA workers who helped send astronaut John Glenn into orbit. The trio just happened to be black women working in America's Jim Crow era. Now, more than 50 years later, we see how these heroines broke down barriers of gender and race. VOA's Penelope Pulu has a story of Hidden Figures.
You know what we're doing here? We're putting a human on top of a missile, shooting him into space, and it's never been done before.
In the early 1960s, the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union is in full force. Trailing the Soviets, NASA prepares for the first manned orbital mission.
It's crunch time. In 14 days, astronauts will be here for training. Everything we do can matter to their wives, to their children. I believe it's going to matter to the whole damn country.
My gals are ready. We can do the work. During that crucial time, 3 African-American women play a pivotal role in helping to compute NASA's orbit trajectories. Oscar winner Octavia Spencer interprets Dorothy Vaughan, NASA's first African-American manager of the agency's segregated West Area Computing Unit. Spencer, who has already garnered award nominations for her role, spoke to VOA about the significance of this untold story.
There were ceilings broken at NASA, but the fact that the world didn't know who they are lets us know that we still have work yet to do.
I need a mathematician that can look beyond the numbers. Math that doesn't yet exist before the Russians plant a flag on the damn moon.
Katherine Johnson was that mathematician and the central figure in the story. Taraji Henson interprets Johnson, a mother of 3 and a modest genius with one goal in mind: solve the problem. Her unfaltering computations kept John Glenn safe as he orbits the Earth. Kevin Costner plays her manager. He spoke to VOA about his role.
It's important for all of us to break those walls down, to drop the barriers, and I had a lot of pride in being able to do that in the movie.
If you were a white male, would you wish to be an engineer?
I wouldn't have to. I'd already be one.
Janelle Monáe, who plays Mary Jackson, a feisty mother of 2 and the first African-American woman to become an engineer, has this message for young girls, especially minority girls, today.
You can be mathematicians, scientists, engineers. You can be in technology. You can change the world. These women did it, and they went through a lot of obstacles. You belong, and genius has no color or gender. Brilliance has no color or gender. And as long as you continue to just do the work, you'll end up on top, always.
Catherine, we all gonna end up unemployed riding around in this pile of junk.
You're welcome to walk the 16 miles.
Or sit in the back of the bus.
Hidden Figures has received praise for its ensemble cast. Its uplifting message reached all the way to the International Space Station, where U.S. astronaut Peggy Whitson, the female record holder for most time in space, sent this message via satellite during the Hidden Figures premiere.
It is my hope that the Mars generation, the vibrant, innovative workforce of our future, finds inspiration as I have in these pioneering women. Enjoy the film, and thank you from all of us, 250 miles above the Earth, on board the International Space Station.
Hidden Figures is expected to be one of the most popular films of the season. Penelope Poulou, VOA News, Washington.
We have liftoff.
And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. For more news, tune in to VOA's evening radio show, Africa News Tonight at 1800 UTC. And in the mornings, Today Break Africa between 0300 and 0600 UTC, Monday through Friday. Thanks so much for watching. From all of us in Washington, have a good night.
Welcome to the Voice of America's News Words. This word is used in stories about your health.
Glaucoma. Glaucoma affects more than 70 million people around the world, according to the World Health Organization. People typically don't even know there's a problem until glaucoma has permanently destroyed much of their vision. In China and India, glaucoma is the second leading cause of blindness.
Glaucoma is an eye disease. It is one of the top causes of blindness in the world. It is irreversible. That means once a person has it, doctors cannot cure it.
Experts say a yearly eye exam is the best way to prevent glaucoma. Now, when you hear the word glaucoma, you will know what this news word means.